August 2022, and it's been a year since the emergency evacuations from Afghanistan after it fell to the Taliban. 15,000 people were evacuated from Kabul airport to the UK in just 2 weeks of Operation Pitting. I'm Sky News chief correspondent Stuart Ramsey, and at the time we reported on those chaotic flights to safety. In this podcast, Out of Afghanistan, we're asking what happened next. What happened to those suddenly starting life over on the other side of the world?
It is not easy to make good friends at different places like UK.
We didn't have anyone and we were very alone. I didn't think she would say let us meet because some people, they don't give you her time.
In the previous episodes, we heard about the support available to Afghans here in the UK through Shabana, a mother who struggled to get her daughter Malalai and nephew to safety through Kabul airport. They now live in Bristol, reunited with her husband Yusuf. We also met Afzal and his wife. They were expecting their fourth child when they had to leave Afghanistan. Their baby daughter was born safely in Britain. The family of 6 was still living in a hotel, but now they have a home of their own. In this episode, we're finding out about integration. How do you make friends in a new place with a different language, different culture, and different social structures? And what makes it easier for some to settle, but harder for others? Last time we were in Bristol, a busy, diverse city. But when the Home Office asked local authorities across the UK to offer accommodation, it meant some families were placed in more remote parts of the country.
When we came to Peterhead, there was not any Afghan families here. Just 3 Afghan families came together here. One other Afghan families also came about 2 months ago, and 2 single boys also, as I heard, I didn't meet them yet.
It's lunchtime. We got the chicken, giant chicken.
Ali had been an interpreter for American and British troops and was amongst the first to be relocated to safety through the government's Afghanistan Relocations and Assistance Policy, or ARAP scheme. He was evacuated along with his wife Kamela and 7-year-old son Naveed. The family are living in a 2-bedroom flat close to Naveed's school in Peterhead. A bus service connects them to Aberdeen, their closest big city, but it's 30 miles south. It's a long, expensive journey. Peterhead is famous for its fishing port, sitting on the easternmost point of the Scottish mainland. The new arrivals from Afghanistan were in for a shock.
I was no any idea about Peterhead, what kind of people and what kind of location is there. After not very long time, the weather changed too much and winter was too cold and we couldn't go out. All the winter we feel like an isolation and quarantine here in our house. Yeah, we couldn't go outside because they are too rainy and weather. All the time, 24 hours, our heater was on. It was expensive. There was one really bad storm in this winter. Many trees fall down. On that time, it is really difficult for every family, not just for me. I was lucky. I had my electricity and I had my gas. But most of the people who is living around me in Peterhead and other Aberdeenshire, the electricity cut off, for a long time. Actually, it is a challenge, but we can change the challenge to the opportunities. It is not a problem to not be safe like Afghanistan. It is good. I'm happy. At least I have my wife, my child here, and at least I'm alive right now. It's good.
In Afghanistan, the family lived with their many relatives, aunts, uncles and cousins, plenty of other children for Naveed to play with. So it's been an adjustment living alone as a family of 3. They're trying to find a sense of community here. Ali says regional groups and businesses in the area organised a far warmer welcome than the harsh winter weather provided.
After 1 week, a community invited us to Aberdeen City and they organised an event for welcoming Afghan people to Scotland. It was really nice for me. I understand these people is really respectful and they respect me as well. On that time, they asked me to speak about the situation in Afghanistan. I spoken with them and actually some of them cried for Afghan people. I understand how much humanity and tolerance is here in the UK and British people. Another time they invite me in a match in football club and they invite us for a lunch as well. In the Christmas time, a student of that Elon Academy sent for me like 100 cards. Merry Christmas, Ali and your family. We wish you happiness in Scotland. You know, this all come together and make me very happy and motivated for my future.
But how to communicate with his new community? Another challenge, a fundamental one.
This is really hard to chat and speak with the local people here. Their accent is completely different.
Speaking English wasn't the issue. As an interpreter, Ali already knows the language. He's found the different regional accents difficult to understand.
Some of sentences I don't understand. I don't catch them, especially when they are speaking with each other. They use some different words that I have never heard. They use different accent and they are speaking too fast as well. But I'm trying my best to fit myself with them. I'm asking them, once again please, or pardon me. They are very kind and speak again and slowly. When they understand me that this is my second language, there is a lot of difference. For example, I'm telling British, they are telling British. They change T to A. For example, they are not telling water, they are telling water. Water. It is different with England. And they are telling, we are not English, we are Scottish. And they don't tell me Scottish, they are telling, we are Scottish. Scottish, yeah.
Ali's wife Camilla is learning English, and so is the 7-year-old Naveed.
Number 1 and number 2. 1, 2.
When my son gone to school for the first time, actually I was wondering how is it possible for him, because he didn't understand his teacher. His teacher didn't understand his language. He didn't understand his classmate. He had no English even alphabet. First week I was very worried about him. It was really nice. After 10 days, 1 month, sometimes he was speaking some English words. I was happy. Then his teacher also contacted me, Ali. Naveed's progress very good. And one day he sent a certificate that Naveed can speak very well English right now. Yeah, I know children is really good for picking up different language. It is like 8 months or 9 months that he is going to school. He can speak English better than me.
It's so cool. I don't want to go.
I don't want to go.
It's so cold.
It is not like the bathroom.
Yeah.
Warm water.
It's not bathroom, I know.
It's not bathroom. It is beach. It's good water.
It's cold.
How are we this morning?
Good morning.
Yeah? How are you this morning?
Good morning.
Are you good?
Good.
Good. I'm Dr. Valeria Hennessy and I own International House Bristol, where we teach English as a foreign language.
We have a boy, yes, and
Back in Bristol, many of the refugees who had taken up English courses on offer are coming here to study and take exams. Not only to interact with others in their daily life, but also to help them find jobs.
I think language skills are the basis of integrating successfully into a new culture. If you can't communicate with your neighbours, with the people in the post office, in the shop, in the supermarket, in the doctor's surgery, if you're constantly depending on your children to translate for you, which a lot of these people are, it diminishes you as a person, as an adult, as a parent. It takes away your dignity. And yes, it's great that they've been given a place of safety, but they need human dignity as well.
They're offered language courses for various levels of ability.
The ones we see are adults. Children obviously go into local schools, and children learn extremely quickly if they're prepubescent anyway, so you don't need to do anything special with them. They'll pick up language like sponges. For their parents, it's much more difficult. And these people have lost everything, including their sense of social identity and the respect of earning their own living. And that's very difficult to take. And sometimes they come with amazing skills, but they can't make use of them. Last year, I had a dentist from Syria who just wants to be a dentist again. We're short of dentists, but he can't get his English to the right level.
Learning the language helps refugees to integrate. But the best way to learn is, of course, by interacting with others, which isn't easy when you feel like an outsider.
And we all know that the older you get, the more difficult it is to learn something new. And with language, you do need to be practicing, you need to be comfortable, you need to feel that it's okay to make mistakes. And for many of them, they live in very isolated ways within Bristol. They've been welcomed to Bristol, and Bristol City Council have been amazing. They're funding this particular course. But these people need more access to the rest of the city. They need to be using their English on a daily basis. They need to be practicing with native speakers. And there's a certain amount of trepidation on their side, I think, that they feel they won't be understood.
Do I football? No, do football. No, I don't. No, I don't. Yes.
We had an engineer last year, and he was from Syria, and he was absolutely desperate to get back into engineering. But he also was a single father of 4 children, and he didn't have the language skills. So if there are opportunities out there for people like him, he's not going to see them. He's not going to recognize the opportunity is there. And I think what's missing is a lot of joined up thinking, because there are people helping these refugees, but employers need to be looking at them as well, because you can very quickly take a refugee who has basic language skills, and by giving them work, by letting them interact with other people, those language skills will improve, even in an adult.
But what is the measure of success when it comes to integration? Jenny Phillimore is a professor of migration and superdiversity at the University of Birmingham's Iris Centre.
There is not one definition of what successful integration is. Governments tend to view successful integration as reaching a similar sort of level in terms of educational, employment, housing and health outcomes as the general population. Academics have got a much broader understanding, and they would be thinking about parity of participation, so being able to have all the rights and entitlements, feeling at home, being welcomed, and indeed the population as a whole adapting to take into account its changing diversity as different migrant populations arrive.
But some have an advantage.
Children at primary school level just fit in so quickly. You know, they adapt very fast, they pick up the language, and they do so well in education. It's harder for teenagers because, you know, particularly if they've been out of school for a while, which is the case for some refugees. In the past, we've had young men arrive from Somalia who basically have been excluded from education their whole lives, and then they're slotted into a class with other 15-year-olds unable to even write in their own language. So obviously that presents a lot of difficulties. Those people who are higher educated and who already speak a bit of the local language also do very, very well. But we see that people are able to adapt as long as they're given the right levels of support and welcome.
It's not always this straightforward, though, especially for Malalai. When we first met her and her father, she'd just turned 10. She's found it really hard to fit in at her new primary school. But Dad Youssef wants her to persevere.
I'm so new in here. Here's cultures, everything's so different. In here, I go to school, but I don't have any friends because I can't speak so much English. In Afghanistan, I have so much friends and I miss it so much. I hate break time. Just boring time and in break time. And then I like to study in. When I came here, then the schools are so much different because in Afghanistan, in 4th class, we have 12 books to learn. 12 books. And in here, we have no books, no homework, no nothing, just playing. In Afghanistan, we have no break time. Like break time, we have it, only 15 minutes. and no lunchtime. We just bring it our lunch from our home and eat it in this 15 minutes. It's so easy in here, so much easy. But just the problem is I can't speak so much English. Yeah.
Only no friends.
Yeah, no friends.
You'll find friends, but you're new here.
Like they already have their friends. They don't need anymore.
Yeah, because they've been together for 5 years. And you joined them just now, so it will take you some time to make friends.
Yeah.
And if you go to high school, secondary school, so then you will find, because all the girls will be new to that school from around other schools. Then you can easily find.
Work and school are good places to meet and make friends over time, but some refugees do not have either. It's harder for them.
It's a shame the film can't capture the smell for us.
The locations of the bridging hotels in Bristol haven't been publicised, partly for privacy, so others can't just drop in. Instead, some organisations are holding events like walks, peace feasts, craft or sporting events to help Bristolians and Afghans connect.
I'm Dan Green, and I'm the Managing Director of a Bristol-based charity called Bridges for Communities. The council has given us access to the hotels, and we've gone in and done welcome events, and we've also invited people out. And part of our job has been to just try and connect people into the goodwill of the city.
But Dan says uncertainty surrounding their future can be discouraging for the refugees.
One of the big challenges has been that people don't know if they would stay in Bristol. So they've been living in this kind of temporary life in hotel rooms, some of them wanting to be in Bristol, others wanting to be elsewhere, and of course everybody kind of with an eye on what's happening back home in Afghanistan as well. So it's been, I think, a very challenging time for all of those families. I see integration as a two-way process, so it is not just about newcomers adapting and adjusting to the British way of life, however we see that, but it's about people in host communities like myself also learning, listening and adjusting, and that way we get the benefit and the enjoyment of learning to live well together. But there is an adjustment process, no doubt, and a lot of it is just about becoming more familiar when things are done different. And one of the things we say is what's normal for you is not necessarily what's normal for everyone else. And that can be around communication style, but it could also be around social norms, very visible things like dress code, etc.
And while language and employment are advantages, he says other factors are also at play.
There is this kind of cultural adjustment process, but it really varies from individual to individual, and the factors that determine if somebody settles in quickly, if someone starts to thrive more quickly than others, are very varied and multi-layered. There's also what else is going on in your life, the background of trauma, the background of what is currently happening with loved ones and family in other countries also plays a major role. And then attitude is another one, and that would be true if I was moving overseas as well, whether I want to adapt. For people who are moving because of war or any kind of forced displacement, that attitude of wanting to fit in, rebuild your life, have a new sense of identity and belonging is one that very naturally would take a longer time. So I think we need to have a lot of patience with people because there's so much going on.
In Peterhead, Ali and his family are on their way back from a weekend trip to the beach. They've spent time alongside other families, swimming, paddling and sailing.
This is job center for us. Many times I come here for appointment, anyone who comes newly should have appointment many times in job center. And right now, since I'm going to my work, I'm not coming here, and all my appointment finished now.
After a long search, Ali's found a job working for a construction company and he is thrilled. He can't drive in the UK yet, so a colleague picks him up and drops him off every day. They're long days at work and Ali spends most evenings processing paperwork to move his family's lives forward. He's now passed his driving theory test and has a date for his practical. He needs to change his automatic licence from Afghanistan into a manual one. He's also working to get his Afghan educational qualifications formally recognised here, which will help with work and with his goal to study for a master's degree in the future.
Yeah, the next junction you can turn left.
Ali's mantra to turn challenges into opportunities is admirable, but that doesn't always mean it's been easy. He still finds it hard to establish meaningful friendships.
It is not easy to make good friends at different places like UK. My colleague, all of them is friendly with me, and I'm friendly with them as well. And if I go to any community to have a chat with them, then I can make friendly with them. But if do not be any community, any organization to chat or any opportunities to speak with the people, it is impossible to make a friend.
The Afghan families also like to spend time together and help each other out.
During the week, we are busy. I'm going to my job and my friends also going to their work. And at the weekend, sometimes we are going come together in one house and playing cards with other Afghan family refugees. And sometimes we are going to the beach, sometimes we are going to walking, running, jogging, and sometimes we come together if we face any problem.
Peterhead has plenty of shops, nice beaches, a health centre, job centre and council offices, and a football club. But it lacks some of the things that are important to families who are practising Muslims.
Unfortunately, we are not close to Aberdeen city. It is about 15 minutes drive from our house to go for halal shop, to go to the mosque, to practice our religions. As Afghan are 100% Muslim, and they are really important for them to access to the mosque and practice their religions. And to see other Muslim people over there. If we go to the bus, we have to spend £8 for each way. That becomes £16. It is too expensive for a new life, actually. Anyone who have no job. From here with the bus, we have to go for 1 hour. 1 hour more, we have to buy our stuff. Then 1 hour, we should come back. At least it takes 3 hours. So it is a challenge for all Afghan families who are living in Peterhead.
They all want to move.
Actually, all Afghan families who are living in Peterhead, they applied and are looking for going to Aberdeen city, to the big city. Yes, actually, I want to move from Peterhead. The weather is too cold, and I have to be in the big city. I think I could manage more to grow up my life.
People contact me directly as well. As an Afghan myself, my phone would ring and somebody would say I'm in the Isle of Skye or I'm further up. People are in all places, in Dundee, in Brewery. Yeah, there's one family in Stornoway. So I don't know how further you could go than that.
Sabir Sazay is Chief Executive of the Scottish Refugee Council based in Glasgow. He himself fled Afghanistan in 1999 and came to the UK as an asylum seeker. He says refugees can still live well outside of the bigger cities.
My message to people who have been resettled always is that you don't need to be living next door to a mosque or to your cultural facilities to be part of that community. It's important that people feel that sense of ownership and belonging to their local areas. You might not be living next door to an Afghan. Your neighbour may not cook the same food or may not sound like you, but they could still be a good neighbour. And I think the same is the message to people who will have an Afghan next door to them and the only Afghan in their town and village. And they may not go to the pub with you or to the church with you. They could still be a very good neighbour. The good thing is that all these Afghan families are coming with a lot of skills and potential.
The SRC links Afghan refugees in Scotland through WhatsApp groups. It encourages them to stay in touch with each other and keep on top of events they're invited to and, of course, job opportunities. Sabir says it's important to be open-minded about the future wherever they find themselves.
This is not Afghanistan where all of the prosperity is in the capital or in bigger cities. But if you have ambitions If you have your skills and talents, you can start off anywhere. As long as you have shelter, as long as you have a dignified income, and you play an active role, no matter where you are, you're part of that society.
Despite the earlier struggles fitting into a new school in Bristol, 10-year-old Malalai says things are getting easier.
Now I have 2 friends in my school. 2 girls, one from Romania and one from Iraq, Kurdistan. Yeah. They born here. They're in year 5 and I'm in year 5 either, but we're now the same class.
So how did you meet them then? In the playground?
Yeah, in the playground.
Oh, that's good. Yeah.
She's chatting with Chris, a woman her mother Shabano met through a shared love of sewing. Chris is a quilting expert and lives with her husband Neil. The women are planning new sewing projects together, and the 2 families now meet at each other's homes regularly.
Right, so this is my sewing room, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. And my sewing machine and lots of fabric here.
She, like, when she is making a dress or anything, so she have to cut it and then she cut it here.
Yeah, on
the table.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll do it on here. Well, I was involved in setting up a project teaching Afghani ladies to quilt. So I was introduced to Shirbano, and I said, well, please come to my group, and I do this on a Friday, and it would just help me so much if you could translate for me. And we just started our friendship like that, and we know it's going to last forever.
Inshallah. Yeah, when I first met Christina, and we just changed our phone numbers, and then she come to my home just for a green tea, Afghani green tea, and after that, after a week, we come to her house, and she made a nice cake for us. I made a rice.
Yes,
yeah,
yes.
Afghani
That was
rice.
the second time.
Yeah, that was
Yes,
that was
yes.
the second time.
Yeah.
First time we just come and see the house, everything, and Malalai was very happy. And I thought Chris will be my friend, but she's now Malalai's small friend.
Well, this is called a lemon drizzle cake.
Wow, I would like it.
Good. That's why I made it, because you liked it last time.
You have some mint. Good. Yeah, I've got the mint. Yeah.
The smell is so good.
Yeah.
Malalai loves the outdoor space at Chris and Neil's house, the big trees and the wild mint growing in the garden. Neil cuts the mint to give it to Malalai's father, Yusuf.
We didn't have anyone, and we were very alone. I didn't think she would say let us meet because some people, they don't give you her time. Even we feel like mom and her husband Neil like her. She said, yeah, like parents.
Both of us have travelled a lot, and I can't imagine how you must have felt leaving your home and coming here, and because it's hard. My husband feels the same way. This is part of our family now.
Those who shared their stories with us are moving forward with their lives under the resettlement schemes. But the move and separation from loved ones has not been easy. Each family that travelled to the UK has their own story. You've heard some of them. But we met others, some who couldn't risk taking their young children to Kabul airport. Children they've now been separated from for months. Others told us about their family back in Afghanistan, who are in hiding and moving frequently. They live in fear of the Taliban. Afghanistan's failing economy means many there are without jobs and food. These are stories they may be able to share with us and with you on this podcast in the future. Their lives may be moving forward in the UK, but their stories and that of Afghanistan are far from over. Out of Afghanistan was presented by me, Stuart Ramsey, and produced by Anne-Marie Bullock. Sound design was by Will Chalk. Paul Stanworth is the editor.